Good evening, everyone. So, tonight or today, this afternoon, end of afternoon, is a perfect scenario. It's a sunset at the lake, Galilee Sea, or the lake of Tiberiades, or there's another name. Anyway, I'm going to talk about let your light shine. That's something that Jesus said, and is in the middle of one big sermon that he said. But before that, Humberto de Campos, in this book, Boa Nova, which is good news, he describes, because he was a writer, a poet, while he was in the last incarnation, he described in a beautiful way the scenario where Jesus delivered the Sermon on the Mountain. So he says, this is actually the picture that I got from the lake. The twilight descended in a desert of gold and caressing breezes. From all over the slope, so towards the mount, the huge mob was jostling. Many hundreds of creatures crowded there in order to hear the word of the Lord within the landscape that hallowed of singular glows from the whole horizon tinted of light. So he's describing the perfect sunset in that place, where a lot of people were gathered there to hear, to listen to him. They were shaky old men, simple and generous farmers, women of the people, clutching to their little children. Among the strongest and healthiest were blind and sick children, ragged men, showing off the vermin that eroded their hands and feet. They crowded, panting. Then, before their happy sight, the figure of the Master emerged in his fresh, trimmed eminence, interlaced with the friendly winds of that afternoon. In this scenario, Jesus preached for the first time the heavenly Beatitudes. His voice fell like eternal balm upon those afflicted hearts. Blessed are the poor and the afflicted, and all the 9 Beatitudes in that day. What I, as not being raised Christian, of course my ignorance is to the top. So I always heard about the Sermon of the Mountain as the Beatitudes. Only the Beatitudes, the 9 Beatitudes. So when I try to talk about you are the light of the world, let your light shine, I discover this is part of the sermon. So just after the verses, this Sermon of the Mount is huge. It has 3 chapters, imagine, 3 chapters. So the chapter 5, 3 to 11, so 1 to 2 is the introduction. They describe how Jesus arrived, how he ascended to the mountain and sat to talk. Like old Hebrew Jewish master, they only talk sitting, not stand up. Then the 3 to 5 are the 9 Beatitudes. And 13 to 16 is the subject, part of the subject of my talk is inserted in those verses. So Jesus said, not that in other John something that I don't remember the number, he said that he was the light of the world. But here he says, you are the salt of the earth. How important is this comparison? Because salt in that time was a very precious commodity. Very precious. Because, like he says, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? Either you make it salty again, or it is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled. So if it becomes insipid without taste, there is no meaning. So the comparison is exactly this. If you cannot fulfill your function, your role, you have no significance. That's the comparison he's making. If you came here to be the salt of the world, you better be one, good one. Fulfill the function, the role, which is to preserve the food. At that time there was no refrigerator, nothing, in a very hot place. So it has a function to preserve the food. Also to give taste to the food. And taste is very important because if you don't have taste in food, you won't eat. You won't consume, and then the malnutrition will happen. So a lot of longevity of human beings started when we could cook certain food, so we could consume other type of food, and also to season with salt. So if you lose your function, if you are the salt, if you are the salt of the earth, you better fulfill your function. Otherwise, better to be thrown out. And also he says in verse 14, you are the light of the world. So he says, a town built on a hill cannot be hidden. So once you ascend, your light has to shine. You cannot just cover it. Say, no, I don't want to fulfill to get my light out. I don't want to shine. You cannot say this. Because our function is to ascend, and it's like this town or house that you put on the top. Everybody is there to receive all the light. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. You don't light up it and put it underneath. What is the function? Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. That's the function. Your light has a function. You better put it correctly, to put yourself correctly in that position. In the same way, let your light shine before others. I said, well, shall I show off? She says that I should show off my light. Yes. There is no meaning for us to have a light if we hide the light. Because someone else may need my light. The same way, I need the light of others. If there's someone ahead of me with a light on where I'm not yet, I am using that light. So once I get mine, I better shine, because then I can help others that are coming behind with a little light. So that is the meaning. So you should shine before others. that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So all the good deeds that I do, I don't need to be modest. Oh, I don't want to show off. No, we should do that. Because by them, I say, look, I'm fulfilled, I'm an example. Before God, he's using me. They're using me to give some lessons to it. God cannot appear here and suddenly says, look, I'm going to help you to. No, he's using other one that is already there to be his hands, his voice. You know, we are instruments. So we better be a refined instrument of God. So in this creation, we are co-creator. So Emmanuel, which is the spirit, the mentor of Chico Xavier, Francisco Cândido Xavier, in this book translated, I read to English, Living Spring, he discussed a lot of verses from the Bible and put in perspective of today how human beings should interpret those verses and be at our use. So in this chapter 105, it exactly has this title, You Are the Light of the World, based on Matthew 5:14. So the question is, when Jesus said all this in the Sermon on the Mountain, to whom he was talking to? What was exhortation? Who he was talking with that he wants those people to be the light? What do you think? Because there was a big crowd there, in the bottom of the mountain. He is there up, all in the hill, many people, and including the disciples that follow him. So actually, he was talking now directed to the disciples, because those disciples have to learn well his words in order to pass on to others, not to the big crowd. He was talking to the disciples. So to his disciples, thus conferring to them a tremendous responsibility. So once we are chosen to be the one to deliver the message, we better be a good, postman. Deliver correctly, uncorruptedly. So, in this book, it talks about that the light has a mission, a role, a mission. He says about mission. So, it puts mission because if now he's look at me as I have in the light, I have a mission with this light, right? The mission of the light is to illuminate roads, scatter darkness, and save lives. A mission that is invariably carried out at the cost of fuel that feeds it. So it needs to be fed all the time. If the light, whether from the sun or from the candelabra, is always a message of security, discernment, comfort, and joy, spreading tranquility around those they shine. So imagine you are in that dark road, no moonlight. You wish you could have a little, your car doesn't have a good headlight is going, you are in those old, carriage or whatever. You wish you could have a little light. So because once you have a light, you feel secure because you can see the edge, you can see if there is a precipice, you can see if there is a hole. So it is good to have a light. So the same way, if I am an enlightened person, and show my life to the people around, I am giving security to the people around me. That is the function. So not to hide. So if I have already reached some discernment, I better show what that means. Because then someone that is entangled, it can say, oh, this is the road, this is the way to solve this problem. Or at least part of the problem, I may from that point do different. But there is an insight that someone else is giving, or I'm getting from someone else's part. So it is important, the light seen as discernment, as an enlightenment. So he says, we will talk about the fuel that has to always be feeding that instrument. So the candle flame burns the liquefied wax of the wick. The electric light consumes power from the substation. How about my light? What kind of fuel is for my light? Because I can say, oh, I got already a light, now I can rest. It will fade down if I don't keep evolving. If I decide I'm done. No, there is nothing like I'm done. So what is the fuel to keep us shining? So he says, our willingness to donate our energy to the ongoing activity of good. So the good has to be done continuously. Because today you solve the problem of one group, tomorrow is another group. Today you fed the person, but tomorrow the person needs the food. Right? You don't solve. It's a continuous donation of energy so that the good news may shine on the pathway of redemption for all. So it's not only for me that I'm donating, but all those that got the service that I'm offering, they also got enlightened because they may also now, if they're in a better condition, help others. Some other family member, etc. Christians that do not have a spirit of selflessness are like a dead torch. Emmanuel is very tough, when he says, you are dead torch, in the sanctuary of the gospel. Let us not get entangled in conflicts and pointless inquiries. So he's already saying there, one way for us not to shine, is when we start to get in gossip, conflict, pointless discussion, things that doesn't give any final product that is useful for people around. If it's just to discuss but doesn't get any enlightenment for what you're discussing. And we do a lot of this, Well, but I'm going to want to say my opinion. But for what you want to say of it? Is really going to clarify the situation? Or just you want to be different from the other one that put just the opinion? So he says, let's not be entangled in conflicts or pointless inquiries. You are the light of the world, the Master has exhorted. And the light does not argue, but clarifies, aids, helps, and illuminates. Imagine if you have, a light coming, and the light, oh, I have an obstacle. I think I cannot enter in this room. No, it goes around and shines over there. There is a little shadow here, but it keeps shining. The sun will enter anyway if you open the curtain. So it does not argue. The light, that means when I am enlightened, I won't waste my time arguing. Say, well, okay, I'm illuminated. You want to take, you want to take. If I don't want to take others' advice, tough for me. The other person that is more enlightened said, tough luck, Yasco. You better be smarter than that. So, but clarifies, aids, helps, and illuminates. So who is enlightened does this. Clarifies, aids, helps, and illuminates. So he continues. That part I get a little worried about. Look at that. For us, Spiritists, okay? In the middle of the long night, we must turn on our light. Without this, it's impossible to find the way of liberation. I see the long night. I don't know if he is talking also together with afterlife. Because I have in my mind that when that brother Jacob, Frederico Flintley, he was a big spiritist, president of center, doing a lot of things. But when he discarnated, he didn't have his own light. Imagine you in the other side, don't have your light. So you if you know how to pray, you're going to pray for someone with some light to come to illuminate, because is there a hole? Is there a precipice? Is there what? A bridge? So thank God we have some people that loved us, no, nevertheless loved us, our mother, whatever, sister, that are there to get us. But he says like this, without the brilliant radiance of our own being, we cannot easily be seen by the divine messengers. Imagine if they want to help me, if I don't have even a small little light, they cannot find me. So I better have a little bit of light, of a candle, at least of this, because that means not that they don't want to see me, it's because I'm not prepared to receive their help. They're not in the same frequency. Like I can see in some range only the visible range. But if they are in the ultraviolet or the infrared side, I cannot see them. I cannot see. Imagine my trouble if I'm there and all dark. I don't know if it's a mud, if it's what there. So I got scared with this. Without the brilliant radiance of our own being, we cannot easily be seen by the divine messengers who help in the name of the Almighty, and we will not even effectively assist anyone. I cannot even help, and I cannot be helped. I'm lost. Imagine. Here, you say, well, I wait for the day to come. But I don't know in the other side how the night and day would play, in the cycle of day. And if the place I am is always dark, I have no idea. So I better solve my problem while I know here. So I thought this was very revealing for me, It is possible to march by using other people's light. It's possible. I will go with Jeanette. She can direct me because she knows the direction. But how about they say, without my own light, direction, GPS, we will constantly be under the threat of falling. Because if she goes away, look, the owners of the lit bulbs can move away from us. They have all the mission to do. If they move and I cannot accompany her because my frequency is lower, suddenly I get lost. Imagine how fearful I will become. So the owners of the lit bulbs can move away from us, summoned by hues of ascension that we as yet don't deserve. She decided to do her job in another realm that is much, higher level, and here I'm stuck. And how about my light? I don't have my light. So that's what is the dangers. We have to start to feed our light. So he says, take advantage, therefore, of the source of light at your disposal, which is the good deeds, all these things that he said, and apply the wick of goodwill to the oil of service and humility. So it's service and humility. And light up your torch for the journey. So that is the way. Of course, I'm going to pray, Bezerra de Menezes, please come here. Or, I pray for all the people. But if you don't deserve, that thing is it's a flash. It goes away because I cannot capture the light. Thank those who light your way for 1 hour, for a few days, or for many years, but do not forget your lamp if you do not wish to slip on the precipice of the long road. The road is long. It's not only in this lifetime, but after we pass to the other side. And what scares me, I don't know the other side how it is. So I better solve my problem here that I know. If there is, because in my mind appears those descriptions that Andre Luis, in some of these missionaries of light or messengers, remember he goes with a caravan. And he said that was a very high mentor, a lady that was a queen or whoever, that had a big light. And they were going to a place where the lower zone spirits were. And she had to go ahead of that group in order to put the lights and to scare those spirits away. We could not even be in the same level of her. We have to be in the back, protected. So imagine if because they are very scared of light. So if I don't have the light, I am like one of those people in the same gang or whatever. So we better have our lamp on. So I was reading something, of course, about how, if the modern psychology, they are talking about this as we being the light of the world. And we need to shine our light. So many psychologists, you can go to Google, they have a lot of tips, and they say that actually sometimes we jeopardize, we sabotage ourselves. We don't want to show our light. Do you have any idea why someone that could have a light on hides? What kind of psychological twist is this? Any idea?
Responsibility.
Doesn't want to have responsibility? Someone else?
They're afraid to be criticized.
Afraid to be criticized? Commitment, responsibility? Yes, this is a good reason. And sometimes we are not even conscious. Say, no, I don't want to go to get this degree, because once I get it, my family will start to, to ask for something, accountability. Look, I paid your university, was a private one, so now what you gonna do with your diploma? And so we self-sabotage sabotage sometimes because of this that you said. You don't want to criticize. We are afraid not to deliver correctly because someone is going to ask. Responsibility, accountability, etc. There was one case that was interesting. This lady that was talking, she said, you know, when I was kid, so with kids, sometimes they interpret things in a very funny way. So when she was a little girl in the school, I don't know if it's elementary school, she was very bright. She knew she was bright. She would get very quickly, learn the words, learn the math, learn all those things for her age. And someone in the group, or the group starts to tease her. The Queen Elizabeth. I don't know if it was in England or something. You look like a queen. Yes. And she didn't want anymore to be called like this, to be bullied. So she started to hide her talent. She didn't want to show anymore that she could do that math, that she know how to spell that word. She didn't want anymore. She will realize the problem when she was already adult. And then came, of course, now she needs to be a professional. And that thing was holding her back. Why? She didn't want to succeed. Interesting, because it happened, she didn't want to be bullied. So I put this very happy figures because they don't care what people are thinking about them. They are there. They should open their mouth. They should jump. That's their nature. How about my nature? So some of those web articles says, shining is up to you. Don't wait someone else to lit your lamp. No. The main key to shining bright is self-knowledge. I have to know myself. Why I want to shine, why I'm afraid to shine, why is good for me to shine, why is not good for me to shine. What is there? You know, it's self-knowledge. You need to discover your strength and weakness and work on them or learn to accept them. Highlight your strength. So we all, in this planet, although we had many talents in other incarnations, but in this incarnation I came with some. And I came with some difficulties because this is the trial. So if before I knew how to play piano, this time I said, no, nothing related to piano player. You will work in sewing. Sewing, I am impatient. I don't have patience to untangle those threads. So my problem still is to sew because of this entangling thread, to to undo the knot. But so we have some weaknesses, but for sure we have some strength. And that you have to put all your coins there in your strength. Try to do that. Of course, 10% or 20% in order to try those weaknesses, but highlight your strength. Don't be shy, it says. Realize your worth. People they're shy. Oh, I may not worthy. I may not have value. Look at that girl, she has more. Look at him, look at my sister. And the family doesn't help with that. Sometimes they say, when you start to be the one slow, because you have other, agenda, like not a bad one, but, you came with a different plan. You know, you see your brother? Your brother is succeeding. Succeeding according to what the parents think it should be successful. May not be. Like, you a doctor, I am doctor, you should be a doctor too. Well, the person wants to be an artist. So, but we have to trust we are worth. We oftentimes focus so much on what goes around us that we forget about the most important people in the room. Don't try to rescue all the people. It's us first. Otherwise, we cannot help. Then, all of a sudden, we realize we've neglected our wishes and feelings. Then we get a bitter old person, you know. Unintentionally, we let others block our light. We let other ones block our light. They may not even be so talented, but they are so self-confident. They say, oh yeah, you better do you. How many times we did that? You better, then I realized, oh, the person doesn't know anything. They're worse than me. Didn't happen to you guys? Oh my God, it happens to me so many times. I say, oh, if it was to do like this, I'm much better. But it's not their fault, it's my fault that I didn't raise my, like, questions. Someone, there's one that doesn't know much. Oh, yes, wants to talk. And you stays there, elaborate. No, perhaps not. Perhaps I'm not doing the correct question. I don't have everything. Who said that for question you need to have everything together? It's because you don't have everything together is that we have questions, right? So unintentionally, we let others block our light. Live without barriers. Don't put blockage. Don't put barriers. Live your life. I put this word normosis. Avoid normosis. It's getting to be very popular. In many talks, normosis when is getting to be a disease. We want to imitate what we decide that is normal. It's normal to be like this, so I'm going to be. It's normal to use this type of makeup. It's normal to do this and that. But who said that you have to follow what others have, the standards of others? So people that go so after this kind of normal status, they get sick because there is no way to keep imitating. And now with this internet, with the TV, the advertisement, they say, oh no, it's normal to be like this. Each year you buy this, or each year you have this high heel, even though it's killing your feet. Oh, but if you want to be, it's normal that you buy those kind of things. And becomes a disease. It's a psychological problem now. That's why it's getting to be much more popular now. They said normosis, you know. Don't sabotage yourself. We sabotage. So a way not to get out of this sabotage is you fall once, get up twice. You know, in Brazil we say, well, shake your thing or all the dust and go, you know. The secret of success lies in perseverance. Trust yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to reach your goals. Give. Don't ask for your husband, your partner, whatever, to agree, to cheer for you. No, no. Set priorities according to their importance, the moment in which you'd like to reach them. So it has to be a plan there. Otherwise, once we fail, if you're that kind of person that fail once, you don't get up twice, oh, it's not for me. No. So plan as much as we can. When, how many steps I have to go through in order to succeed. It's a good thing. So you want like to sew those covers. We did in steps. Oh, let's try first one model. You did one cover, sew one. Oh, now I'm getting there. So I can do 2, next time I do 10. So there is a step. So in order to do the 14 that was under your responsibility, you took a couple of steps. So there are some positive sides of letting our light shine. What good is this for me if I feed my, all my lamp and try to be a better person, to serve in a better way? What is good for me? They say, because once we succeed to have the lights on, that boosts my self-esteem. I start to be more confident. Look, I was able to help someone. I was able to make some covers for our notebook. That boosts self-esteem, allowing to increase motivation and self-confidence. Oh, now I can do other projects. I can help. Make it easier to reach our goals, to improve our skills. Once we succeed in one, you say, now I probably may try other things, other skills. Lead to greater self-control. Now I don't need to wait for someone to say, oh, I don't know if you're able to do. So I know, because I succeeded in one thing that I didn't know, and now I know. Help us learn to resolve conflicts assertively. Once you helped someone, and that person got, help, you say, well, I did without causing harm. So make it easier to set boundaries. That is not easy. So many people get entangled because they allow others to run our life. Boundaries. Look, this is my area. I don't want you to start to tell me what I should do. Boundaries is very important. Not to be aggressive, but say, and people inside our family usually are the first to invade our territory. And we deserve to have our own privacy, right? Make it easier to build healthy relationships with others. This is important. Lead to improved quality of life. Once you have good because relationship, it can make our life sour if it doesn't go well. It can be a big source of joy, but can become sour. But once you learn how to have a healthy relationship with the family man, look, my quality of life for certain is improved. In the work, at home. Okay. So there's the Spiritist book. Many Spiritist books have a lot of, this message, enlightening message. And they always say, you have to shine bright from inside out. You cannot wait for spotlights. People to shine, put lights on you. Because suddenly, if there is a blockage, you're out in darkness. So don't wait someone to say how good you are. Don't wait for that. Because this is very dangerous. Because one day the person doesn't want to say, and now your self-esteem is down. No, if you have a confidence, it's better. Don't wait for others. Why we need to rely on other people? They may not be even honest. One day, yes, my friend, tomorrow may not be. And now I'm going to let the person decide who I am, that now I'm not good. So the Spirit's book, the main message says, you have to let your your light shine bright from the inside out. So look at that. Very happy, right? Happy, happy, happy. They're genuinely happy. So in this book, Minutes of Wisdom, it's not translated, but is on Mondays, Daniel show many pages of that. It says this: your light must shine from inside out. Try to manifest to everyone, look how much he is, the inner light that vibrates in you through your deeds and your words of understanding and optimism. Look at that. Jesus said that. Look at, let me see here. Let your light shine before others, not only to you. He's saying clearly that they may see your good deeds. Don't hide. You know how to do it? You show. I know how to do it. And glorify your Father in heaven. So, Pastorino, who is the author, says the same. Manifest your inner light to everyone. Show that they're vibrant because of your good deeds, your words of understanding, optimism. Be yourself, your own light, enlightening everyone with your words of comfort and encouragement, with your smile of enthusiasm and encouragement, with your example of faith and optimism. You say, well, but who cares if I'm optimistic? Well, yes, people may use that thing as a good vibration. It's not even an example only. That vibration of your optimism, it contagiates, it reaches other people and changes the atmosphere around, the psychosphere, like they say. The psychosphere around, not only here, they say to the universe, because we are in a web. We are all connected in a web. So what I feel here, if it's good, is transmitted to other place. The opposite also. If I'm negative, I'm bad also. It goes down. The universe senses. So we better put it out. Be example of faith and optimism. Shining the light is doing something good every day. It's not once in a while. I don't know. It's all the time, actually, continuously. Is wanting to improve, is striving not to repeat mistakes. There is nothing wrong to make mistakes. What is wrong is to keep repeating the mistakes, right? And it seems dumb. Then I would ask, what's wrong with you that is make all these mistakes every time? Is persevering, is to be grateful, have good mood, is to smile, love, forgive, and move on. Isn't it good to find a beautiful smile saying good morning to us? Then to this, you know. So Joanne, of course, says the same in Happy Life. I think one of these days someone read this. That's why I got from her. It's very nice to read this little book that we always read in our gospel at home and here. There is a sun shining inside you. It is the presence of Christ in your heart. Don't dim your clarity with the clouds of your bad mood, revolt, dissatisfaction. It's a cloud, guys. So I don't want to be the cloud. The light coming from the outside brightens but casts shadow when facing any obstacles. Your inner sun never causes darkness because it illuminates from inside out in abundant spurs. Using the fuel of love, your light will become ever more powerful, radiating, blessed in all directions. let your light shine, there's true light everywhere. So I think it is always, we have to be sure that our mood, our thoughts nobody probably will know what I'm thinking, but if I am a good artist and I don't show in my face, which is that difficult, but our emotion when it comes out, people know, people feel. Oh, every time I get close to that person, I feel like, there are people that even the plant senses go down, So I think we have to be aware of this, that because we are energy, we are made of all energy. Whatever we emit is energy. And the universe, this fluid that embeds us, is all made with energy. So we better be aware that we are contributing to that energy to change to this way or to that way. It's not that nobody's seeing me. No, I'm inside the bathroom, nobody's gonna. No, it is. Because the energy doesn't have any boundaries. It goes through the walls and through the universe. So let your light shine, shine, shine. So this I like this because I imagine in old time when we rely in that light in the middle of the ocean. Many places where you have rocks, mountains, how many ships had, they wanted to have a little light over there showing we get into the correct side. We are okay. We saved. Imagine. So we are like this, in the lives of many people. We are. And so the other are also to us. So we are thankful for 1 hour, 1 day, or years that they are illuminating our lives, but not forever. Because they're going to move away. Move away. So that's it. If you want some questions to be made. Where is the microphone? Questions? I was about to put the question since if you don't have, but I asked during the talk, what's your problem? Each one of us, if we could say, the problem to not let the light shine. What is your main obstacle? That someone wants to say? That you think?
Thank you, Yas. That was a great talk. I think you brought a lot of reflection for us to think about how many time we have give excuse not to exercise our talents. I think this talk we can reflect also upon the talents and the skill that God has gave us, or we have conquered in previous lifetime, and now we are kind of put under the rug,
Carpet.
the carpet, the rug. So one thing that comes to my mind is that out there we have a lot of people that has mental problem, and they even have the cognitive aspect to think about you know, the skills and the talents that they have. So how my question to you is how we that surround those people can help them to boost the light that because they have some kind of impairment, mental impairment, they cannot push this, they cannot do this because they don't even recognize. So how do we do that?
Well, I'm a very good fan of this radio, Brazilian radio called Rádio Boa Nova. It's good news radio. And some of this is part of the Institute André Luiz, which is a hospital, especially with patients with great disability. Not only they have physical, but especially mental. So they cannot function in any way according to the standards of other hospitals. But that hospital, André Luiz, they have now, I think, long-term patients, 1,000 at least. And some cannot even change themselves. But look at that. There was one that he was born without the brain, what we call some cerebral palsy. So he doesn't know how to do anything. He doesn't know how to speak. He doesn't know how to eat by himself, the move, nothing. He wrote a book through the help with those people. So because the brain somehow, in some way functions. And those therapists are there to get that little opening in their brain. So I am very curious to go there to see how they do, but they learn by their eyes, the way they react to some figures, whatever, and they help them to write a simple book, but to write a book. And also some that can still have ability to draw, they draw. So sometimes it's done by 3 or 4 people. So there are ways with this therapy, people that somehow, out of love and compassion, is trying to get what that brain can give, what kind of sense, what kind of glimpse of sense can be used in order for them to be helpful to society. Because they understand that they want to be helpful. Because they cannot go to the bathroom by themselves, they cannot clean themselves. But they know, that spirit knows they want to do something. And the other things that I learned also, which was amazing, we always think when you have those people with a great disability, that they are here because of the past life, that they are here to learn out of this limitation. But one or two, someone said that during the mediumistic meeting, I don't know how it happens, they said that spirit with all this limitation was coming from higher level planet. But he needed to pass through this experience in order to have data to be applied there. Nobody can understand what kind of data is, but he said in the mediumistic meeting that the only way for them to have something there in this high level is to send someone to the planet Earth when you have this heavy body limiting. I don't know what kind of learning they're going to have.
I think the learning is from the other people you have.
Yes.
Give the opportunity for other people to have more.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, she's saying that these spirits sometimes come to be the way for others around to evolve. That's true. A mother of some kid with disability, how much she's learning. Or a family member of a patient with Alzheimer's disease, what kind of learning they have is more for the family. So there are all some missionaries there. That's not the way we think. Oh, they did something bad. They were killed so many people in the Inquisition. No, not that. So all these people in this institution, André Luiz Hospital, imagine how much they learn, how much compassion they boost by dealing with those patients. And they're old people, but in a mind of a baby. They call kids, but they are grown-ups, So I think...
Thank you, Yasco. I actually have a question from Alba. She's asking, how can we balance between shining our own light and being humble, not imposing, but loving?
Yeah, I think when we decide not to shine, to be modest, it's because we are afraid of this criticism. That's why we put our brightness down. However, it's part of our evolution to learn how to shine without imposing. So it's not easy, but we are here to learn. And you see that many people, they are there mostly by example. They may say once in a nice way, but perhaps never twice. And for sure, not the third time, because now it's an imposition. And mostly by, I think, being an example, but a very quiet example, not to stay in the spotlight, look at me, no. Very quietly, see how you're doing, but always don't say, oh, I'm not going to follow my talent because I don't want to be criticized. This is negativity. This is negative. I should do, but in my way. In my way, not to be in the spotlight, not to be in front of that person that may not take, but others may go after to look how you're doing. So there's always someone that your example will fulfill, the other one not. You cannot be, good for everyone, but for sure not to impose, but to dispose somehow the example, the ways, to do. That is showing that there is way I did to. So, of course, when you have problems, you had already a problem, more easily be taken. That's why the ex-former alcoholic, they are better off there talking about how to quit alcoholism, drug addiction, people that have had some. I was listening today to Susanna Simone's interview, and they're going to do some kind of seminar because it's easier for her or for others that pass through these difficulties being gay to help those youngsters that are almost to commit suicide because they don't know how to do it. They cannot know how to reveal to their parents. They cannot know how to deal. They want the solution right here. She said it took 10 years for me. And there are people that even the lifetime, they won't even show off. So each one has, and her example may be good for one group, but not to the others, because all of us are different in a different pace. That's my thing, yeah.
Thank you so much, Yasco. Does anyone else have any other comments, questions? No? Well, it was a wonderful talk, Yasco.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you so
welcome.
much. Very enlightening. A great reminder of letting our light shine.